It comes through hopefully in the way that we, not only the art form itself, but also in the way that we go about making the circle in a very reverent and shamanic maybe way. Well, I definitely believe there seems to be some other form of intelligence that seems to be interacting with circle makers and believers alike. You know, at some level, there's certainly reams of evidence of balls of light. The amount of people that've seen them, that I know, that I've met, that I've talked to, that I've heard talk, and the amount of film that's came out from people that I trust and know and like, you know. There definitely seems to be a presence of some description that seems to be pushing the crop circle phenomenon forward, more than just how the people are moving it and changing it. Without being too specific, I had one occasion where I was making a circle at night without anybody really knowing that I was out there. And during our invocation I always like to ask for something before I make a circle, and on this particular occasion I thought I'd help the farmer out, hopefully. And I was far too general, and I said, can Great Spirit, can you make this place more fertile? And I conceived my daughter about 2-3 days later. So yeah, be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. I have seen balls of light. I've seen them while I've been making crop circles, and also while I've just been staying out overnight in the area. There's something that's almost taken for granted by a lot of the people around here. Once you start spending time around here, you can't help but understand that they're here. You know, they're in the area. You know, I'd really like to find out where this consciousness comes from. Whether it's external, maybe it's internal, maybe it's a bit of both, maybe the two are the same. But there's definitely something in the fact that these places are magic. Coincidences happen more in these areas. They're much more prevalent, much stronger, much more life-changing almost. Well, no, they are life-changing. They fundamentally change the way that people view things. And this seems more than just a coincidence. This is synchronous, this is greater, this is almost divine, and there seems to be a consciousness, a motivating consciousness behind this that seems to be driving things forward, driving us to some eventual conclusion. What that eventual conclusion is, I don't know. Maybe it's that everything is interconnected. Maybe that we're not separate entities. Maybe on some level we're all part of the same thing, you know. And well, what a wonderful message for a consciousness to put forward to us. You know, what greater message is there? Maybe it's the greatest lesson that we have to learn in this very troubled time.
I make circles because I'm an artist, and I regard circle making as part of my artwork. There's a tradition of circle making stretching back 20 years. I'm a part of that tradition. And there are certain things that making a crop circle demands, and that does involve quite a lot of work and planning and such like. So if people regard that as trouble, then I guess that's what it is. But to me, it's just part of the activity of being an artist and making art in maybe a slightly odd, peculiar way, I suppose. Well, making circles is not a joke. I mean, it is funny sometimes, but generally it's not a joke. I mean, I kind of regard making circles as actually quite a serious activity. I mean, it occupies a lot of my time, a lot of my thoughts. And, I mean, I think that circles function in quite a profound way for a lot of people. Crop circle making is a kind of a selfless act in a way. When you make a circle, although you're the author of it, because it's important that the circles are not seen to have human authors, you lose control of it, and therefore people, I suppose, can do what they like with it. I mean, I actually think the photographers that take such stunning photographs of it deserve every penny they get from the photographs. And I'm also particularly pleased when farmers make money from charging people to enter the formation. I don't particularly crave publicity for myself, but I do want my work to be seen in a public context and interact in a public way with large numbers of people, and hopefully often in quite a profound way as well. I've never pulled the wool over anyone's eyes, actually, and I've got not really any interest in doing that. Making circles is really like any other aspect of my art making. There's nothing deceptive about it. I'm simply going out into a field and laying down a design. And I suppose with that design goes a question to people. What does this mean for you? Why is it there? And how is it there? People are free to answer those questions how they will. I'm really interested in what other people believe. And part of the reason for making circles, I suppose, is like some kind of curious amalgam of at once going out and making a circle and feeling that you've met some kind of challenge, some kind of technical challenge, and at the same time then watching how other people absorb your creations and interpret it and speculate, analyse it, whatever. So in that sense, what people believe is fundamental to the practice of making circles, but not in the sense of mocking the belief. In fact, you're actually interacting, engaging with the belief. There is a totally symbiotic relationship with the circle makers and the people that research them, the Cropcircle researchers, UFO researchers, whatever they like to call themselves. Actually, the risk of being caught and prosecuted is very low. The fields of southern England are numerous and very large, and it's almost impossible to be detected whilst you're making a circle. On one occasion, I was lost for 2 hours in a field trying to find two other people in the field who I knew were there, but despite knowing they were there, it still took me over 2 hours to find them. Now, imagine if you went into a field and you didn't really know whether there was anyone there. The chances of finding anyone are so remote, and so the chances of being discovered are so remote, really. I'm not attacking a belief system, but I certainly am certainly am interacting with it and engaging with it. I'm actually myself very attracted to unorthodox, I suppose what other people call unorthodox alternative belief systems. And as an artist, it's part of my artwork is engaging in them in a variety of different ways. Cropcircles is just one. So in that sense, it's important that it's not an orthodox belief system like this church or some other established orthodox belief system, whether it be overtly religious or otherwise. I mean, I don't think any circle maker could morally justify what they do in the fields. It's not possible. Obviously, it's criminal, and in that respect, it's hard to take any moral position against it, and I don't seek to do that. But I do hope that what I do brings some kind of experience to people who visit them that they think is worthwhile, and that they don't feel that visiting them has been a waste of time, and they've got some kind of pleasure from it, some sort of enjoyment from it, or maybe something even more profound than that. My activities, sometimes do cause me trouble from believers. I think really because there's a climate of misunderstanding between circle makers and researchers. Circle makers are generally rather caricatured in the minds of researchers, and as a consequence there's a certain amount of vitriol directed against circle makers, not just myself, other circle makers as well. As I say, I think it's really a result of misunderstanding. I've had a couple of phone calls and some letters. I wouldn't call them a campaign of hatred or paranoia in any sense. I think that they are just cases of misunderstanding. But there is a curious paradox where circles researchers love the creations that we artists make, but on the other hand hate the idea that they're made by artists and not by some sort of paranormal entity. So as a consequence, they're stuck somewhere in between those two things. Yeah, the first time actually, one of the first times that I visited a circle, I actually took a photograph, which I suppose what would be called a photographic